Here's some ways on how you can make money playing piano. I want to basically go through the various ways that I have made the odd few bob playing piano with your passion. It's the absolute best way to make any money, the feeling of getting paid for something that you just do in your spare time. So I want to go through some ways that you can hopefully implement, give you some ideas that maybe you haven't thought about before, and tell you maybe a story about how I got my first gig playing at a restaurant at 19. I'm also going to briefly talk about ways you can advertise your services towards the end of the video. This isn't going to be how to pursue like a full-time career in piano, but it's more just to give you some ideas in terms of directions you can go, because I haven't made a full-time income with just piano, but I definitely have picked up a few extra bob here and there kind of over the years through piano playing. So there's 3 or 4 main ways. The first way, most obvious one I'll get out of the way, is teaching. I haven't done much of it myself. The odd bit I have done I've really enjoyed, especially if it involves teaching people by ear. Obviously, if you follow this channel, you know it's all about predominantly playing by ear as opposed to learning sheet music and grades. And that's, for me personally, that's probably why I would step away from teaching, going fully into piano teaching, because a lot of parents would obviously like their kids to get the proper qualified grades. But if you're a fan of this channel, you'll probably be a fan of learning piano by ear, and then if you're interested in teaching, it would probably be teaching by ear as well. And I think even if parents want their kids to pursue grades, it's always a great method of getting people really excited about piano if you can show them that you can quickly kind of learn their favorite songs. So it is a way to get in kind of that way, and especially if you can kind of express your passion pretty clearly to them. You can do this one-on-one, word of mouth. I think schools, primary schools and secondary schools are a great way to go into, especially if you know a parent in a school that has the ability to, like, maybe if you had business cards created to drop them in, or like drop in flyers or something. As at least if you have a link in any way, the parents will probably be more comfortable with going with you, because it's not like they're going with a complete stranger. At least there's a mutual connection there, so they'd feel a bit more secure. Obviously, online tuition as well is something that I do one-on-one. That's not that regular. That's kind of more for if people kind of have a specific question and for a once-off kind of thing and want to go through some stuff. They can book in with me down below via my calendar there. So that is a method you can kind of do as well, take the online route. But I think if you're really like, if that's kind of your main direct idea for an income related to piano, I think starting off in person, one-on-one, spreading the word of mouth, getting the word out amongst your kind of area that you live in is a better way to go about it. Second one, and this is my favorite one, playing in restaurants or cafes. So when I was 19, I got my first gig playing at a Chinese restaurant, and it was just playing songs like you'd see on the channel here, just kind of favorite songs by ear. I did a full video breakdown on the type of songs that I'd play, like old 60s folk, some kind of light jazz, some Billy Joel, some kind of new-ish modern pop songs, like a kind of a mix like that. And it was great because it's literally free practice and something that I would usually just do alone in my house there, just by myself to kind of relax. And it's great that you're doing that out for a business and then just getting paid for it at the end. What happened there was I was with my family for a meal, and there was a piano in the middle of the restaurant not being used, and they all kind of forced me to get up and play. So and luckily the waiter was all right with it as well, because I'd imagine that could get annoying. So I got up and played a piece, went down well, and I was basically chatting to the waiter afterwards, because I was like, in my head, I was like, this would be great to just get paid kind of doing something like that if there was any kind of way possible. So I remember kind of hanging out with the waiter after the meal. We were like having drinks as a family, and then the waiter was still around. And I was only 19, and I remember he was kind of talking to me about like various whiskeys or whatever that they sold behind the bar and stuff like that. And I kind of asked him, do you have a regular piano resident here, or like a regular resident that plays songs like every week or every night of the week or whatever? And he was like, yeah, to be honest, like, no, there's one other woman that comes in and plays kind of classical music. But he was basically like, but yeah, no, if you want, I could pass you on to the boss or whatever. Because he was saying that like you're good compared to a lot of the other people that kind of hop up and play. So I mean, that is step one to to learn how to play piano by ear like well, and like just be relaxed about it. And it also helps to have a piece prepared if the opportunity ever arises. So in this case, I forget what piece I played, but I obviously had a piece practiced well enough that I could just kind of demonstrate out on the keys or whatever. So he was like, yeah, no, I'll pass you on to the manager of the place. And he basically gave me the manager's card. And I was like, yeah, definitely, I'm so interested. Like that would be great. So I think the following week then, because he told me to ring the manager's number, and the following week I remember placing in a call with him. And I remember I was like studying business at the time, and the one little negotiating tip that I remember from business was some guest speaker coming in saying like when you're negotiating with people, never mention the price first, never be the first to mention the price. Let them mention it, and then whatever they say, your response should be, oh, I was expecting a little higher. What happened was then I was on the phone to him, and he was like, yeah, so yeah, you can come in and play for the first one or whatever. And he gave me a night basically straight off the bat to come in for. And he was like 2 hours, and I was like, oh, that sounds great, yeah. And then I kind of brought up the payment of it. He was like, yeah, so I suppose like standard kind of payment for a pianist. So what would that be? 40 an hour, so 80. And then I remember, because I was on like minimum wage at that stage. So that was like way above what I was like expecting. So I didn't have the balls to be like, I was expecting a bit higher. I was just like immediately like, yep, yeah, that sounds good. So that was the price of that, like €80 for 2 hours. And I did have like a fair few nights. I remember the odd night he'd ask me to stay for the extra hour, and I just kind of rehash what I prepared in the first hour. But definitely check out if that's something you're interested in, something you should definitely keep an eye on. I remember kind of going around when I moved to England, I sussed out kind of like places that had pianos in them, and a lot of restaurants would only just have the piano there as an ornament and not want people to play it. I would say, especially if you're in like a kind of smallish local enough area, go in one-on-one, a mix of that, and then also ringing up just to see if they are interested in taking in piano players, or if they have other people playing already, kind of thing. That video down there should tell you everything, I think. But it's always great to just prepare like 1 or 2 hours and be prepared to kind of play on the spot. Maybe if you did get called in and just asked for a trial or whatever. And then that, at that time, that was like years ago, so that was like the general benchmark. But I'd imagine it could be even higher now. But even still now, I think that's a pretty good price to just be parked up at a restaurant practicing away, and that's the only thing you do. There's a couple of things to watch out for, like not playing too loudly. That will turn people off. Play very quietly and gently, because there was a couple of moments where they did tip me up on the shoulder and were like, you're playing too loud and stuff. But yeah, other than that, it was a great gig, and that was definitely I think my favorite way still to date of making money. Third option is coming up with riffs and licks for other people's songs. So I remember this happened a few times where I'd be reached out on Instagram and saying like, oh, I have like an idea for a track. Here's the song. Are you able to just record piano over it? Here's the chords. And he'd either want me to just play kind of basic chords with it, or come up with like a little lick. That's great. That's very easy, because it's just, especially if you have a method for recording yourself. So I'll break down a video in the future of how I record everything. I think digitally is probably the best way to go in terms of something like that, either MIDI or at least like a stage piano where you can just directly link it up to an interface with a standard kind of 1/4-inch jack lead. So you literally just record yourself playing over their song, send it over to them, and then you can just say you can have as many like 3 revisions or whatever it is. But that was really handy. And depending on their budget, kind of it depends on the price of that. Something to definitely pursue if you're putting yourself out there, like making reels on Instagram and like gaining a social media following from just playing piano stuff, and specifically surrounding yourself with producers and musicians and people who create songs. It could be a good way to go about kind of earning a few bob. Kind of related to this then is sample packs. So this is a bit of a more complicated area, because look this up if you're not familiar with it, but it's really in the producer kind of realm of things, where people can pay for sample packs, which will include some kind of just chords and riffs of various instruments like guitars, pianos, drums, all in one pack. And then they use those as samples to make music out of. That's something that you could look into if you were like really good at piano and like came up with like a really good varied kind of set of chords and riffs and things like that. Different websites would have different requirements. Some are more strict to get into than others. So Splice is the biggest one, I'd say, if you want to look that up. It's been something that I've been thinking about doing, combining even like production drums. Like, I mean, if you play other instruments as well, that would also help in this scenario. Sample packs are amazing for people who already have a following, because they literally can just create the whole list of audio files and then just announce to their following that they've made it for sale now, and other producers can just go download them after paying whatever fee there is. It always varies. Definitely something to look into if you have the time to sit down and really craft it well, make all of the sounds kind of really great quality and different, and include some good notes. You could be onto something there, definitely, because that's a great way to make money, because anything that you have to just invest upfront time in and then complete and then you can resell that is great, because you've done just all the work up front, which is the hard slog. It could then be something that you just have available that you can continuously push to people that you meet or you're following, if you grow a following now or in the long run. Fourth way, I've done this the odd time as well, is like a session musician, and they can vary depending on the type of gig that it is. So sometimes it's like if you really love the music or you're friends with the musicians in the band that want to take you on board as the keys player, you could be happy with like just a ticket revenue split of for the whole band. And then in other scenarios, then you'd like charge a fixed fee for your time and practice time it takes for you to be like the session piano player in there or whatever. So I haven't done much of this. I have done a bit of it. If you can get into the right circles, that's something that you could advertise well, and you could really do well in if other people are seeing you in multiple different bands, and it can kind of just snowball from there. Yeah, so now in terms of like advertising yourself and your services, there's a few ways to go about it. One great thing I think that I just recently came across is it's a website called Chord with 2 Ds, and I'm not being sponsored or anything to say about this, but they've just been pretty good for me. It's basically like the Canva of website building, and it's effectively, if you just want to quickly get a website up and running straight away, you can do that for free, like now, within like 2 minutes. I'll leave a link to them down below also. Yeah, you can effectively just create your own business card, and you can have that link to Calendly. You know, Calendly, it's this digital calendar where people can see when you're available and then book in a call, like a consultation call. And then you can also then on Calendly charge for that call if you want, or it can be a free call. So that's something to definitely keep in mind, whether you're recording or offering even piano lessons at an area, or even just offering like, you know, you can come up with riffs and licks for people. You can make this business page. You could also link to like your YouTube, all your social media channels and stuff. And it's great if you have business cards that you can create on Canva. If you have like just the website URL in there that people, or a QR code that you link to it. You can look all this up on how to do it on Google, but please leave a comment below if you're kind of stuck or this is all confusing. If you have a QR code on the back of your business card that people can just scan and go directly to that online kind of business website page, that's just a great feature because they're automatically then just on your phone. I love business cards as well. I think like physical business cards are definitely coming back, and the company I use for them is Vista Print. I've printed off a load of cards for piano one-on-one lessons if I kind of want to advertise that. And then also the main thing I'm working on here is the studio for recording and mixing artists and stuff like that. So I have a separate business card for that. Another absolute must if you are basing yourself in a location, so say you're renting out a room for piano lessons or whatever you're doing, you need to get yourself on Google Maps, and it's very easy to get on there. It takes like a few minutes. You can get verified easily as well. Literally just kind of ask if you have people that you're teaching already, or anyone really that you know even in the area that you're vaguely kind of working with. You can just ask them to leave a review just to get the rating up. Make sure you fill the description with a load of keywords kind of relevant to what you're advertising, like piano lessons, piano playing, whatever it is. Because yeah, I mean, just from having a thing on Google alone that you can link to your website, like, so that card thing if you want, or if you really want to like invest, I mean, the absolute best way to do it is invest in a official website to be built, but I appreciate that takes time and can be confusing because there's a lot of options. So that's why I think card for like a short-term solution and a quick solution is a great way to go. Set up your Google Maps profile 100%, and then just spend a bit of time getting some good professional photos. Like, the state of some of those Google Maps profiles that I see, it's so easy to kind of just make your profile stand out above them simply just by having good photos and a few 5-star reviews on there. It's setting you up really well. And I think the more reviews you have and the more testimonials you have from other people, the more people will be excited and happy to invest in your business and go to classes with you and everything like that. And a little story maybe to finish off, that, you know, this YouTube channel has grown a fair bit, and I've only literally taken it seriously like now. So I'm really happy about it, and I'm just going to keep uploading frequently. But like, it all started when I was in college. I did this like one-off kind of course where it was like media, something to do with media business kind of thing or something. Our goal was basically to just like create some kind of a online media profile or media business kind of thing. So a piano tutorial channel was something that I always wanted to do for like a few years. So I just took that opportunity to make it and put up some videos there, and they already helped loads of people. It was when I uploaded Childish Gambino's Redbone tutorial, and also the left hand trick was uploaded around that time. They didn't get the views they got now, but like they were still on like a couple of thousand each, and like some good comments from people obviously helping people and stuff like that. And then the subscribers, I forget how many subscribers, but there was like a decent amount of people that it helped. And the other people in the class, like the one thing about my channel, it didn't look professional. It just kind of looked a bit like rough around the edges or whatever, because I was just in my bedroom filming it. The sound wasn't amazing, and like the editing wasn't great, and it was a bit messy. And also like my channel was a bit messy looking as well, but it did get some good results still, just because the value was definitely there. Whereas other people, their profiles looked like so slick and so professional looking compared to mine, but they didn't get a name out there themselves really. It was all just like real professional looking, but like no followers, or like no one subscribing or coming in telling them they helped them in any way kind of thing. For whatever reason, like they got like way better grades in that than I did. I think I got a C- for that. Even though I like did a presentation about all the results and stuff, but for whatever reason it wasn't professional enough, so I didn't really like it. But then as well, after that, then it just kind of grew, and then that left hand tutorial video took off and did really well. So it's just really interesting how, like, I don't know, sometimes like authority figures are just completely wrong and way off. Like what I'm trying to say with all this is, like, even if you don't have a good pristine kind of setup, you can still get some great results in whatever area you're going about doing, whether it's gaining a following, teaching people, or generating more of an income for yourself. There's so many authority figures will be kind of like picking and critiquing, but at the end of the day, it's literally about the value that you bring. And if you're bringing good value, that will stick through whatever kind of technical asset you're using to record yourself or put that out to the world. All that's to say, then I hope this has given you some good, fresh ideas. I hope it's kind of sparked for you some new avenues that you can potentially go down in your kind of piano playing route. And if there's anything really you want me to explore more on this topic, definitely leave them down below. Or if there's anything you'd like to add that I've missed, because there probably is. I mean, this is just like a few ideas, probably the tip of the iceberg compared to some people. I'd love to know all of them. So let me know. And in terms of tutorials and requests, I'm all ears for what you want me to do still. If you want to book a one-on-one in with me, my calendar's down below, so you can just do that. But yeah, I'll say as well, I say this in every video, but if you want to download the free piano chord Bible, there's a free download for that in the description. I've made this a while ago and it's helped me loads, just kind of in theory and like learning scales and chords and stuff like that, and different chord progressions that are common in each key and everything. So it's available for free at the moment. It's like the first kind of version of it, so I've just made it free, but I'll probably update it kind of in the long run kind of thing. But yeah, so thanks for watching and let me know what you want to see next.